What's up, beautiful people? It's your boy Josh Martin. Today, I'm going to be talking about a few tips for the Blackmagic Pocket 4K. Let's get into it. Using the Slate tool, I've recently started to use it more for my personal work, especially with different reviews, like lens reviews. In case you didn't know that there was a Slate tool on the Pocket, if you swipe left or right on the screen, the Slate tool will pop up. Now keep this in mind, if you are planning to use a Slate tool, you have to set this up before you start shooting, because any videos previously, once you add in the metadata, it won't add to those videos. It only adds to the videos coming after setting up the Slate. This is a really handy feature, especially if you're doing narrative work, lens reviews, or camera reviews like I do. For in this case, I'm gonna be showing you how I use this for lens reviews. The first screen is the clip menu, and you can see all the takes. You can download the reel, the take, the scene, and all of that. I encourage you to dive into this tool on the Blackmagic Pocket, but for me, I really just focus on the lens data and the project. So if you click on lens, it will ask you to type in information that you're using. So in this case, I'll be doing multiple reviews on different lenses, and sometimes I can't really tell the difference. So I had to plug in what lens I'm using, the focal length, the t-stop. I'll definitely plug in all that information. So while I'm editing, I can make sure I have the right lens with the right settings. So having this tool is actually really great for me. And anything that I want to use it after that, I can use it for narrative, I can use it for doc as well, once I have that time to set up those shots. And it's really handy to do that on the camera, in the camera. And you can definitely, double that up with an actual Slate on set. If you're using a Slate on set, most professionals will do. But for me in this case, as most of the time I'm really by myself, I'll set this up. Either I'll use the app on my phone or the back of the camera. I'll make sure to set up what I need to have, what information I need to have in the beginning before I move on. So check out the Slate tool. You might be surprised how useful it is. Now really, the next 3 tips I'm gonna share are very situational, and I'm just sharing how I use this in my workflow. So ISO, using the exposure on this Blackmagic Pocket is very interesting, and it's become very, I don't know what I was gonna say there. The native ISO is 400 and 3200. For me, when I'm filming in bright situations and daylight mainly, I tend to use 800 and 1000. If you look at the chart, you can see that 800 and 1000, you can retain more highlights at those ISOs than at 400. So that's what I tend to do. In situations, I should say, that I want to retain more highlight detail than shadow detail, I would definitely use 800 or 1000. And of course I throw an ND on it. That's how I kind of use it. Relatively when I go up to more low light situations, I'm at 1250 or 3200 as ISO. So like I said, it's situational, but that's how I like to set it up. Most times I'm going to be in 800 ISO. And the beauty of RAW and the downside of RAW is that you can get lazy about, oh, I can just change it later. But as a starting point, I always use 800 ISO as a starting point in any bright lit situation. Of course, if it's indoors, not a lot of highlights, I'm gonna lower my ISO to keep a low floor noise. To keep a low noise floor. So just something to think about. Presets. Presets are very interesting in this Blackmagic Pocket, as I'm learning to find out. There's a couple things I would like to see changed. I don't know if they're actually going to change this, but this is how I use presets. Right now I set it up for a lot of anamorphic modes for my Blackmagic Pocket, especially for the 133 and the 2x anamorphic. So you can save anything on the camera as a preset. So if you have your current settings that you really like, if you just head over to preset and hit the plus button, it will save that setting. Now, if you change anything after that, you can actually revert back to it or write over that preset or create a whole new preset and name it. It's really just that simple. Now, jumping into the next tip, like I said, it's all situational, but combining these last two, the preset and the toggle preset, they need to change up a few of these names, but I wish that you can set a preset, like your camera settings and everything, as one of the toggles on the top of the camera. So I would set it 1, 2, and 3. That would be ideal in my case. That's how I kind of set up my GH5 back in the day with C1, C2, C3. Those were just camera settings that I switched over to. But anyway, moving on to toggles and preset. This is where you can set the top of your 3 buttons to anything from ISO, white balance, anything that's listed in there, honestly. Or the flip side, you can do focus peaking, clear guides, anything like that. So how I set it up currently, I just base it off my ISO. So my functions F1, F2, F3 are ISO 800, 1200, and 3200. Like I said previously, I started at 800 most of my filming. That's really how I set it up, and it's kind of nice that you can actually toggle between it. So if you set up your preset as F1, but you set up your F2 as a toggle, you can do that too. So there's a lot of customization there as well. But those are my tips. If you have any tips that you want to share, please let me know in the comments below. I definitely want to know. I said that twice. I definitely want to hear what you guys have to share, because I know out there's a lot of people who talk about generally the same tips. So I really thought about how do I use my camera, and these are really the ways that I use mine. So I'm rambling still. Yeah, let me know. I'll tell you guys later. Catch me in the next one. Peace. Do you like this shirt? It's my boy Brian. He has this company called The Creatives, and this is literally a 16 by 9. So if you get that reference, it says it right there. Wait, where does it say it? It says it right there. 16 by 9. See it? Bang. So check it out. I'll put a link in the description as well. Whew, guys. Going to the next one. Oh man, that battery died already. Sheesh. All right, I'm done.